Yo, still bills. What's the deal, man? I just dropped my daughter and my babies off at my grandparents' house. They aunt is back in town. Aunts are back in town, and they went over there and they kicking it, man. So they staying the night over there for the night, man. But peep gang, we gotta get into this shit, man. We gotta dive right into the bullshit. And man, listen, man, it's been 3 fucking days. This is a non-boxing related topic, man. Non-boxing related topic, man. It's been 3 days since Fat Joe made his infamous statements on Mav Hoffa's podcast, and he's still continuing to get drugged. All praises due. Listen, he keyed on something pivotal that he said in the pot that, well, he ain't keying on it. I keyed on it. He said something that pivotal that I keyed in on. And that, my thing is this, and it always has been this, man. From their paradigm, it's been a culmination of blacks and Puerto Ricans who created hip hop, right? They created hip hop. Blacks and Puerto Ricans created hip hop. In particular, they'll say Jamaicans. That they just try to find a way to, what I'm saying, debo us up off the block so they can run so they can run it or whatever the case may be, man. But my thing is this, and it isn't just relegated to just Fat Joe, but I remember hearing Derek Cologne say some shit like this as well. But when we make a stance and we say we are undisputedly and solely the creators of the culture, we don't start hearing about other ethnicities until we stake that claim. When the general consensus was, oh, it was black and Latino, it was black and Puerto Rican, nobody else ever got brought up into the equation. I remember listening to a video of Dr. Derek Cologne, and he was saying, oh, it was everybody. It was Panamanians, it was Dominicans, it was Italians, it's everybody else. And now Joe gets on there, he says Guyanese and all that shit. So it's like now that we're not allowing y'all to say, now it's not just blacks and Latinos. Now it's, and when blacks and Latinos, when we say blacks in particular, we're talking Black Americans and Jamaicans. And when we say Latinos, we're talking about, Puerto Ricans in totality. Now it's a conglomerate of everybody. Now it's Panamanians, now it's Colombians, now it's Cubans, now it's Dominicans. Everybody is, had a hand in creating and building this culture. Everybody. And I feel like when that right there in itself is like, it's telling. It's telling, because y'all had no issue with standing 10 toes on the lie as long as y'all were included in the lie. The minute y'all are no longer included in the lie, now, it wasn't just us, it was everybody. It was everybody. It wasn't just black, it was everybody. And that's just something that was just always something that was weird to me, man. I'm like, yo, well, what if we wanted to exclude all of these people, if we're being faulted for excluding for all these different nationalities who took part in the creation of this culture, why were y'all A-okay with that? As long as we included the Puerto Ricans. And as I've stated before, I fell victim to saying black and brown and blacks and Latinos created hip hop. You dig? I remember making a post saying, yo, I don't like people saying Cardi B ain't a part of the culture because it's her culture too. I've said that before until I had to get some get right. For years, I always thought it was Jamaicans. I thought that this isn't nothing new. This isn't anything new. And I'm glad that people are starting to really get some act right as it pertains to this diatribe, bro. I love it. I love every fucking minute of it. I love every fucking minute of it, man. Listen, when we say y'all didn't create the culture because y'all didn't, there's nothing wrong with that, man. I always ask people this, man. You motherfucker, anime is on fire up here in America right now. Are you gonna try and infringe on them because you're a consumer of anime? No. Are you gonna try and infringe on their rights to that type of cartoon and animation that they created? Because you have a multitude of box sets of anime DVDs, video games, action figures, clothes, dishes, everything, mugs, plates, all that. Do you posters on your wall? Are you gonna say now all of a sudden that you are a part of this culture because and try to come up with some bullshit narrative that because it popped off in America before it set sail around the world, America is the one that really galvanized the anime community globally, are you going to sit here and say that this is your culture as well, just because because whether you want to believe it or not, Americans did contribute to anime culture set and sell around the world. Even though this isn't the first place that that it was. I mean, they were showing anime, they were showing Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball episodes in Mexico. They were showing it all over the place, but it was when it got stamped in America is when it set sail around the world with through Toonami. And I could be wrong on that, but I've yet to hear anybody give resistance to that claim. Are y'all going to turn around and then say this isn't Japanese culture? No, this is our culture. This is world culture. And just completely be dismissive of the fact that the Japanese were the ones. They are the brain. That's their intellectual property. That's their brainchild. So you gonna try and devote him off of their culture as well now? Like, it just bothers me how motherfuckers just can't sit back and just say, yo, we contributed, but we didn't create. Because I don't see anything wrong with that. B-boy culture is not where it's at today if it's not for the Boricuas. That's just a fact. That's just a fact. And this is why, like, people keep finding a way to denigrate, to kind of just be dismissive of, of b-boy culture and hip hop or whatever, man. I'm like, when you do that, not only do you give these motherfuckers a right to say, oh, well, they have an argument now because of how, their numerical strength within that element. But what bothers me the most is, and Lord Jamar has perpetuated this, and he's a dude that I'm like, I think your time as a spokesperson for the culture has, kind of run its course. When you say it's not an element or it shouldn't be an element because we don't do it no more, and then try to give credence to the fact that teeing off on it, or up here we say teeing off, but bagging, because bagging is a custom of Black American culture that now all of a sudden we elevate that into the element of the hip hop lexicon, and we remove breaking because breaking isn't as celebrated amongst Black Americans as it used to be. I think it's about time Lord Jamar takes a back seat, you dig? Because somebody like you ought to know better. Somebody like you ought to know better than to say some shit like that, especially when we galvanize. My objective as a hip hop conservative is to preserve the culture in totality. So it should be an even playing field. For every MC that you should be able to name me a couple of graph heads. And I'm falling short of that because I don't know a lot of graph heads. For every graph head you should know, you should be able to name me at least 10 B-boys. For every B-boy you can name me, you should be able to name me at least 10 DJs. You should be able to do this. And they don't have to be Primo, or they don't have to be Pete Rock and Cass and Flash and Red Alert. It doesn't have to be those. It could be somebody as simple as Qbert. You know what I'm saying? It could be somebody on that level. They don't have to be world-renowned DJs on a mainstream level. It doesn't have to be Jazzy Jeff. It doesn't have to be these dudes. It doesn't have to be Jam Master Jay. But you should be able to name me some DJs. I think that should be a goal within hip hop culture, man. We have to get to the point where we are all united as one. A rising tide lifts all boats. There's no reason why hip hop, rap music should have gotten as far as it got, leaving the rest of the culture, stranded on an island. Now, it's good and bad that comes with the hip hop, with the industry, because just how shiesty the industry was, and their involvement with getting, their involvement in hip hop isn't about preserving the culture. It's about getting a bag. And milking something and turning as much profit over it on this particular thing right here as we can before it fizzles out. That's just been an industry standard. However, through that industry standard, they've released some of the greatest and most timeless music from all genres: hip hop, R&B, funk, soul, jazz, all of that. Gospel, not gospel. But rap, because rap is so isolated away from the culture, man, they're in a position where they got to fend for themselves. And they're just so disconnected with the customs of this shit that we got motherfuckers believing that it's A-OK and acceptable to have, to hire a ghostwriter. That shit is a cardinal sin in hip hop. But this is what happens when you allow motherfuckers to write the history of a culture that they can't begin to understand. Half of these motherfuckers can't walk and clap their hands and chew gum at the same time. So back to the original point, we are the creators and the innovators of this culture. Puerto Ricans' hand in b-boy culture and graffiti culture is unquestionable, but they were preceded. They were preceded. They were preceded by the nigga twins. Those were the first black b-boys I heard of. As much as people like to talk about Crazy Legs and all that because he became the face of breaking, he was preceded by Spy. This is why you got to know some sort of history and even go up everything that the car is modeled after the train. You know what I'm saying? It's always a predecessor before you. Before hip hop even existed, what do you think? Before 77, there was no such thing as a official hip hop record. An official hip hop record. They was rapping in the 60s and in the 40s and all that. But there was no industry and there was no industry for there was no there was no rap, no rap industry before 77. Niggas was in the ciphers getting busy and really learning. All right, man, let's try to take this and turn this into something. Before that, what were they playing at the jams? What were they playing? Hip hop is an extension of funk. Jimmy Castro and James Brown and Marvin Gaye and Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5 and these are the sounds that was being played at the parties, man. These were the sounds, Curtis Mayfield. These were the sounds that were being played at the parties. What Puerto Rican sound did they throw on the motherfucking turntable? They didn't even throw Jamaican music on. They didn't even throw that shit on at no parties because we're not receptive to that. So how can we create something 50-50 when the very sound, because the music dictates everything. The music dictates everything. It dictates everything. From her getting another record player to extend the breaks and creating the atmosphere and the energy for b-boys to get loose to Busy being Coke Rock getting on the mic doing what it is that they do. Where were what was the Puerto Rican sound? You'll hear some bongos. It's a particular breakbeat, the Mexican. I can't remember who did that song, but that's a fun. I've been to a few jams where they played that track at. But oh, there we go, right there. But where, just outside of that, and even that song ain't called the Puerto Rican, it's called the Mexican. So, but where were these sounds that were being spun? The Puerto Rican sound, like when we know what I know what Caribbean music sounds like, the island music, the Spanish speaking nations. I know what that shit sounds like. I know what it sounds like, and I think I love it personally. I think it's a real dope sound. I think it's a real dope sound. It has a distinct sound, more so than what we hear with Mexican and Central American musics, the corridos, the mariachi bands, and all that. Caribbean, that Caribbean sound it has a unique sound. It sounds way different from what you hear from the Central Americans and the Mexicans. That shit was you're trying to convince me that that's the shit that was getting spun at the party? I don't think so. I don't think so. Funk, soul, the breaks, Parliament Funkadelic, Bootsy Collins. These was the sounds that was being played. These were the people that were being, these were the sounds that were being played at the parties, the park jams. They did not play. So where does this come? Where does this 50-50 thing come in? And even when we talk about if you want to elevate them to 50-50 status through or say they had some sort of creation in it in its inception through breaking, that's one of three elements within the culture. So how is it 50-50? How is it 50-50 when the first official Puerto Rican MC that made it was 20 years into the culture being cultivated before a nigga even noticed them? Whipping all them dudes, they paled. It was two Puerto Ricans, dude, in Wild Style. 2 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 Puerto Ricans, dude, in Wild What the rest of the rappers, bro? Like, one Puerto Rican DJ? Like, what are we talking about here? 50-50. This ain't no 50-50 thing. If for him to come out his mouth and say the shit that he said, making those disparaging comments, that's unforgivable. These broke niggas, man. Y'all, this is what happens when we give Hispanic motherfuckers the green light to say nigga. Because they get to using it in certain contexts where to them, they just think they saying a regular word because they've been embraced by Black America. So I can hide behind my affinity of Black culture and the homies that I got who are Black that allow me to say that shit. I can hide my bigotry behind that. Because it always goes back to, where I'm from. It always goes back to that. It always goes back to that. It's never... Ugh. They can always hide behind that shit. They can hide behind hip-hop culture. They can hide behind the people that they fuck with. Who fuck with them that allow them to say that shit. I ain't saying it with the hard ER. Just play all type of Jedi mind tricks, you dig? And he's so comfortable with it. Bro, I listened to it. I didn't hear it till like last year, but he was like, who gonna stop me from saying nigga on one of his songs? And I'm like, yo, this is... and they keep pumping it. They keep pushing this motherfucker in our face. We gonna make you a host at the BET Awards, and then the following you turn around and do some whole shit like this. Lord Jamar was the wackest nigga in the group. What? Bro? You got a ghostwriter. You're nowhere without pun. What do you think you was in digging in the crates? Big L was the sun and shining star in that crew. I didn't even know you was a part of digging in the crates until years later. I don't hear you until Terror Squad. And even then, you couldn't fuck with Cuban Link. And you damn sure couldn't fuck with Pun. So what the fuck are you talking about? How dare you sit here and say he's the wackest one when you got a ghostwriter? Because you can't do what he does. It's just nerve and audacity, man. It's nerve and audacity. Black radical. That, who says that about Black people? There's nothing wrong with being a radical. A radical is just somebody who wants to implement change, through policy. You know who else? Who else was called Black radicals? The Black Panthers. Because they refused to go along with the social apparatus. And to this day, I get people telling me that we're in the Black Panther, weren't they a terrorist organization? That's the game that they run. So for you to come, I don't think you understand how inflammatory them remarks you was making was, man. We should have been canceled this motherfucker. We should have been, Cardi been told, man, stop saying nigga. Little shit like that, man, yo, pause. I gotta go in here and get my girl. Hold on, pause. Yeah, I'm back, my nigga. But yeah, like I was saying, man, I had to run and go grab my wings from Buffalo Wild Wings. But yeah, Cardi B, all you motherfuckers who just simply can't follow simple instruction, I just, it's time to cancel all of y'all, bro. It's time to cancel all of y'all. The cosplaying is Black men and Black women. It's just gotten entirely too unbearable. And this is what happens when we allow motherfuckers to get comfortable in a culture that's not theirs. This is what happens when we allow motherfuckers to get comfortable with saying some shit that no white person can get away with saying. There's no reason why motherfuckers should just have that level of comfort to say a word, a derogatory slur towards us. That should not be happening. It should not be happening. And then when we ask you to stop because we're feeling offended and our anxiety is rising because you keep saying that shit, you give us resistance. You're offended because we're offended. You're offended because we're asking you to stop doing something that you're accustomed to doing because Black people allow you to do it, even though we are not a part of that Black social circle that allows you to do it. It's a respect thing. It's a respect thing. Y'all are comfortable enough with calling us niggas in derogatory terms and saying shit that no other white person can say. Now that isn't enough, we need that culture as well. We need that culture as well. I don't know what it is with Puerto Ricans, man, but y'all's a motherfucker. Y'all really a motherfucker. Y'all are really a motherfucker. Hip hop ain't enough now. Just y'all want to confiscate reggaeton as well, bro. And that's not y'all creation. Y'all are more prominent in it. I come across far more Dominicans and Puerto Ricans and doing reggaeton than I do motherfucking Panamanians. I don't know, man. It's really time for y'all to get some act right. It's really time for y'all to get some act right. And when we tell y'all this is all y'all want, y'all just I just it's wild disrespectful how we are getting kind of y'all trying to sweep us up under the rug. You know how you want somebody to move, you sweep at their feet, and you don't want to get you don't want to get your feet swept under because it's a bad luck thing. Y'all are trying to sweep us at the feet off of our square. Jamaicans created hip hop. Puerto Ricans created hip hop. Like we have no other. Just think about how wild this is. Our entire get the world's entire get the slang that we use, the way we dress, the way we walk, everything about us, the world gravitates towards. How many like what just what Jamaican culture is not touching every pocket and corner of the world. Puerto Rican culture is not touching every pocket and corner of the world, getting to the nooks and crannies of it. I wouldn't be surprised if motherfuckers knew about hip hop on North Sentinel Island. But let y'all tell it, y'all created something. Y'all were co-contributors to this culture. When everything said everything about the culture contradicts that claim. And just everything about everyday society contradicts that claim. What Latin sounds did we play at the parties? Where is the remnants of what we do today and what we call hip hop from back in the 60s and in the 50s and the 40s and the 30s within Puerto Rican culture, within Jamaican culture? They don't exist. Hip hop was created at its foundation is funk. Its foundation is disco. Where were your funk and disco Puerto Rican bands? Where were your funk and disco Jamaican bands? They don't exist. And that's not to demean them. It's not about throwing shit. It's simply about speaking truth to power. Y'all had nothing to do with this, man. The fact that y'all had to come over here and be taught how to assimilate into American society, that says everything right there. And you can't. The main person that they point to is Cool Herc, and you can't be a creator of something that you are being taught. Herc he learned how to do how to do graffiti. He had to be taught how to DJ. I'm just saying, man. Just respect. Yo, this is blacks in America, whether motherfuckers want to admit it or not, are the face of black people globally. Our culture is the most gravitational. The way we talk, the way we walk, everything about Black American culture. Everybody wants to assimilate into and be a part of that because it's just too undeniable. It is. I think Jamaican culture is dope. Shit. My wife is Hispanic or a mestizo. I gotta stop saying Hispanic. I think I think Mexican, Central American, South American, Spanish speaking Caribbean. I think that shit is dope. I like the sound. I like how each individual country has its own dialect as far as Spanish is concerned. I literally, as I'm running into Buffalo Wild Wings, I'm listening to the girl talk and how she's saying she's speaking English, but I'm like, this ain't no Mexican or no Central American accent that I'm hearing. Where you from? Cuba. That's dope. It's these girls I work with. When I hear them speak English, that's not the English that I'm accustomed to hearing from a Salvadorian, a Mexican, a Guatemalan. Where you from? Honduras. I think it's dope how each individual country has its own accent, even when they speak English or when they're learning to speak English. I think it's dope they have their own way, their regular their regular well, yeah, vernacular as well, because a lot of the words that they use in all of those nations come, a lot of those words derive from the languages that they spoke before, pre colonization. I dig that shit. So I'm not, I think, I think I dig quote unquote Latin culture. Asian culture is dope. It's dope. Culture is a beautiful thing. I dig Italian culture. Irish culture. It's a beautiful thing. So it's not to throw shade at y'all, but the thing is, y'all have not created a culture that reaches to across the entire globe. Y'all haven't. Y'all have not. We have. We have. Puerto Ricans today did not start speaking like that until hip hop came along. And that was far after they got hip to the culture. When they assimilated into the culture, y'all didn't speak in the manner that we speak in. Dig it, trip on this, peep this. Let me rap with you. That's cool right there. Cool it, man. These is words we've been speaking like this since the 20s and the 30s. The entire, the hip hop lexicon, vernacular, ebonics, whatever it is you want to call it that we speak in, that is off the plantation. That's a derivative of how we were speaking on the plantation. How we speak now, this bastardized version of English that we learn now. Everything about hip hop culture speaks to the Black American experience, not the Puerto Rican American. They don't call each other God or nothing like that on the island. They don't talk like that on the island. They don't know you. What the fuck is a God? We just now learning what that is up here in Omaha, Nebraska. As we're coming across more Muslims, because Islam is getting big up here. They didn't speak like that up here. They didn't speak like that in different parts of the country. But they spoke. You gonna tell me Puerto Ricans create? No, bro, no. Y'all didn't speak like that until like you're going into the 90s or whatever, maybe the 80s. Y'all didn't speak like that in the 70s. Y'all wasn't around niggas like that, and y'all wasn't numerically as strong as y'all are now. Y'all didn't speak like that. Mexicans didn't speak the way that they speak in the now. Mexicans don't even talk the way that we accustomed to hearing how they was talking in the 90s, saying A after everything. No, A. So fool, A Holmes, like that's the Mexican vernacular that I like to hear. I don't want to hear the motherfuckers talk about no nigga this and nigga that. I don't want to hear that shit. That shit pisses me off. You're not a part of this of this demographic right here for you to be talking like that. Everything about hip hop culture speaks to the Black American struggle, from the way we dress, from the way we walk, to the way we talk. Everything. The pimp walk. How niggas, how pimps was walking and all that. Man, Puerto Rican pimps, from back in the day, bro. You see no Puerto Rican pimps at the players' ball and all that. Nigga, please. No. Everything about hip hop is predicated on the Black American experience. How we dressed is predicated on the Black American experience. We just funking the clothes out and all that, man. You dig to the eventually. All right, man, let's try and make something of this shit. We're going to start with cross colors. Everything about hip hop is predicated on the Black American experience. Nobody else. Welcome into our culture, but understand that it's our culture. That just is what it is, man. Stop playing games, man. It's time to sit Fat Joe the fuck down. I don't know how this dude even got into a position where he's some sort of an ambassador for us. Why did we keep going to him with political aspiration? Like, why? That shit is offensive. Why is Cardi B speaking for us at a that is offensive. These motherfuckers are not us. Who elevated them socially to be, even Eminem. Eminem is one of my favorite rappers. Why are y'all parading him out? Where are the Black American acts at? And why can't those acts echo the sentiment of the Black grassroots? Every turn y'all keep taking as it pertains to us is disrespectful. It's disrespectful. Every time, it's just it's just a snowball effect. It's this thing, and then it's this thing, and then it's this thing, and by the time you realize, yo, this shit is wild, they have left breadcrumbs of bullshit that they've done that they should have honestly been violated for. Fat Joe being the main, contributor to that. He's been in violation. From that verses he did with Ja Rule to that track, him saying, "Nick, who gonna stop me from saying nigga, 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 nigga." To you sitting in front of a fucking board, in a boardroom in front of a room full of niggas, then basting them for feeling offended about you using an inflammatory term. That that strikes them, it hits them. Like, what the fuck? You've been a problem. You've been problematic for years, and it's time for you to go. Just not even go sit down. Just go to fuck. Go get money in reggaeton. Go get money over there. Leave us alone. And matter of fact, I feel like this: anybody who was stand in solidarity with that motherfucker, you need to be canceled too. So I feel like unless Mav Hoffa comes out and rights that wrong, issuing some sort of statement, everybody needs to unsubscribe to his channel. Go get money with them Barbados motherfuckers and them Boricuas and them Puerto Rocks that you fuck with up there. Stand on that. Everybody who feels like that shit is acceptable and you got a reason as to why and a justification for them to for them saying the shit that they say, go get money with it. No. You cut off. We putting we drawing our line in the sand right here. Go get money with them. Them your homies over there. Leave us the fuck alone. Leave us the fuck alone. That shit is wild, man. Niggas didn't even know Busta Rhymes was Jamaican until a few years ago. The cosplaying, man. And then we'll turn around and disrespect. If Jamaicans created the culture, why didn't we know your ass was Jamaican? Because you can hide that because you grew up in America. And you will see you adapted to American culture, which is hip hop, black culture. Black culture is American culture. So anybody who will fuck with them motherfuckers who's accepting of the shit that Fat Joe is doing, and they got an excuse every time Cardi B and him use the word nigga or any other Spanish speaking person who ain't black, you gotta be made an example out of, man. Stay over there with them. I'm not fucking with Math right now, man. I'm subscribing to his channel and all that. I'm willing to stand on that. I don't fuck with Cardi B and Fat Joe anyway. Them is just the two. I keep bringing them to it because those are the main two in the public eye right now, as far as rappers go, that I can think of. Get them two the fuck up out of here. Y'all gotta go and take Dre up there. Not Dre, but Drake with y'all. We got to get back to the customs of this culture. Knowledge being the fifth element implemented into the hip hop lexicon, and knowledge should tell you the language that y'all are using is inflammatory and disrespectful to the architects of this culture, yo. Deuces.